blah blah blah. I was gonna tell you about a past life, and then I just keep talking. I do this. Hmm. The past life is the one that I lived with Avery on planet Earth, where we both lived here together in human bodies. And so, in reincarnation, you get to explore the universe. In reincarnation, you get to explore the universe. You don't just live on planet Earth, you can live everywhere. And karma exists, but karma, your soul has the ability to experience more than one incarnate of lessons. So you are incarnated as let's just say a human on planet Earth, and in an infinite universe there is no past. There's no past or future. I mean, there's always just the awareness. There's always just the awareness that is taking place at all times and places simultaneously. And so you step into the spiral of life of an incarnate, of a reincarnation, basically. And then your soul explores all of the lessons that are a part of what it is your soul is trying to understand and to how it wants to develop. So maybe the lesson is learning how to love someone for the beauty within and not the beauty on the outside. So your soul explores many different lifetimes to see all the different reflections, so it can learn about love in other ways, love in all of its different ways, so that it can, as a human being, discover. And the challenge of being a human being is extremely, you need to be proud of yourself for being born on this planet. It is very hard here. It's extremely hard here, and nobody acknowledges that. No, you do not come here to live an easy life. You come here to challenge your soul. That this is the advanced levels. And even young souls come here so that they can grow faster. They can expand faster because you learn so much in one lifetime. If you want to be a Palladian as a young soul, you're going to know what love is. And that's what you're going to know. You're going to know what love is in one frequency. You come here and you get to explore love in so many different faces. The ugly side of love, the beautiful side of love, the hateful side of love, the lying side of love, all these different sides of love in one lifetime. So like 60 years here would be like, I don't know, it'd be like 10 lifetimes as a Palladian or something like that. And they live a long time too. Our bodies, they, I see, I just keep talking and I just want to talk about everything. Just like thinking, and then the thoughts just keep rumbling through and they come out my mouth. But in this past life, I'm just going to try and focus in. This past life with Avery, we lived in France. I've always loved France. I studied French. I can't speak French anymore. I wasn't very good at speaking French. I didn't really try that hard either. I just wanted to get good grades, so I tried hard enough to pass everything I did. Because I find nature far more appealing to me. I find talking to Mother Earth more extraordinary than other things, I guess. And and anyway, so we lived in France, and I've always loved France, and I'm certain I've always loved France because of I've been there before too. They're covered in gardens. It's so beautiful there. All the buildings are as they have been standing for a very long time. So everything has its own history. I mean, the history is in everything you see. It's so beautiful there. And even the language is so beautiful to me, and there's so much there's artwork, and it is literally a country that just is art to me, artistic and beautiful, and really wants to share the beauty of expression in all its forms: nature, artwork, just the buildings and the architecture and everything. It's very beautiful there. And then you have fields of grapes, and it just, I always, before I found out about this lifetime, I always said that, I'm going to be an old woman, I'm going to buy a vineyard in France, and I'm just going to find a way to get all my family out there, and we're gonna live there, and we're gonna love our neighbors, and we're just gonna have wine parties, and we're gonna smush grapes and eat bread and just have a blast. That's what I'm gonna do when I'm really, really old, and that's how I wanna be. And the thing is in that past lifetime I lived on a vineyard, and I did get very old on a vineyard, and that was truly what the experience was like. You see how the past life memories, I don't remember this, but yet I somehow do, because I actually had a fantasy, a joyful thought about that idea, which actually did take place in a past lifetime. And it's no wonder I was inspired to have that thought, and why it made me so happy, because I actually had recalled something from a past life I didn't even know I had. Well, when I discovered this past life, I didn't even know that it was Avery. I just, after, it has been a long process to learn these things, but I knew in my heart that as I started to learn about Avery, that I knew that the man from that vineyard was him in a past life. I just knew it. And I know still now that that is true, because, after I had made this discovery, years after I discovered this lifetime, I just double check. I just see what my psychic's opinion is, and I trust him, but I also trust myself, and that is what my heart told me, and I just wanted to know what somebody else thought, honestly. Anthony, my psychic friend, doesn't get more honest. I could ask him a question and he'll come back with some random thing. It's like, what does this random thing have to do with my question? And then 3 months later, it's like, oh, that is weird. How did you know that? How did you put those pieces together? He does it. He's really good. See, I'm getting in business now, and that means that he's going to be busier, and it's going to take longer for me to hear from him. But I'm total supporter. He's awesome. He's a really, really great person. And so uh yes, the lifetime, I'm sorry. And so anyway, in this lifetime, I was very rich, and my very, 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 very extravagantly wealthy family is where I came from. Extravagantly wealthy. So what would be like, 2% of the population today, I was in that past life, extremely wealthy family. And we had servants, and anyway, so we had gone on a holiday to visit my aunt who had a giant vineyard, and so we went to visit her just for the summer. And I was 16, and just happy-go-lucky, and wanted to fall in love, and that sort of thing. Every 16-year-old feels that way. That's a very natural human feeling to have at 16. You just want to fall in love with somebody, and that is beautiful. I think every 16-year-old needs to fall in love and to know what that feels like. And so on the vineyard, I had gone out. It was not desired for me to be interacting with the fieldmen, and so I was kept separate from them. But my aunt, who lived on the vineyard, what didn't follow all the rules, and she was, always pushing me to go, take this out to your uncle in the fields, and just wanting me to just enjoy the vineyard, enjoy the experience more. And so I did. I went out to the field, and that is where I found Avery, and he was leading. He was a nobody. He would have been a nobody. He would have just been just a guy on a team with a team of other guys, and he was sort of the leader of the group that he was helping, and so he took his hat off to me, and was very kind. And in that moment, you see something, and when you see somebody that you fall in love with, the whole world stops, and you know something. Doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor they are. Doesn't matter about the circumstances. You see and you know that there is something connected. There is a connection, and you feel the electrical sensation, and it is like a serious moment where the whole world stops. And so that is what took place when I'd seen him. And so that is our soul connection. Is we've incarnated in many, many lifetimes together, and so the souls um, develop an even closer bond as they continue to explore lifetimes. Avery and I have not always been loving towards each other. In lifetimes, millions and millions of years ago, we fought in battles against each other and hated each other. You see how incarnation creates experiences that bond souls together in love. Even souls that hated each other at one time can become souls that love each other. That's what incarnation does. That is good. That is amazing. That is a special thing that happens. And so obviously in this, that this was very inappropriate. The extremely filthy rich 16-year-old daughter does not have a relationship with the poor vineyard boy. It does not happen. It is not what happens. But that is what happened. I would become more inspired to go out into the field to meet my uncle, and so I could see him. And we just started seeing each other more and more. And two 16-year-olds who have that bond can't really just keep themselves separate. They're like magnets that have to come together. If they don't come together, they're going to die. That is the feeling of being 16 and in love. It is a magnet. We must be together or we're going to die. That is the feeling. It is that serious. And so Avery and I then, Avery as the vineyard boy and me as the filthy rich 16-year-old girl, fell in love on the vineyard and made love on the vineyard, and then it was discovered. We were discovered making love on the vineyard, and that is a very bad thing. See how we have experiences in all our lifetimes. It is not good for the filthy rich 16-year-old daughter to be discovered making love with the vineyard boy. Bad, very bad. So that was a scandal. And so we were forced away from each other, and it was literally like my arms and my legs were being ripped from my body, and it was literally like my heart was being stabbed. It was literally like my whole world was being poisoned, destroyed, mutilated, and tortured to be separated from him in this way and never see him ever again. That was the pain I felt because our souls our souls need each other. Our souls love each other. Even from far away, even from distant planets, we can still find each other. You see? That is the magnet. That is the magnet that we attract. You don't realize it, but all things we attract. We are all magnets that attract exactly what we are supposed to have in our lives. Anyway, anyway, so there's more to this story. So as I had our trip was over, and once I got back home, it was discovered that I was pregnant, very bad. See what my soul does? My soul does not like to follow the rules. My soul doesn't care about society's idea of what is right and wrong. My soul just wants love. This is the way it is. And I was in pain, and I told my mother that no, I want to go back to the vineyard. I will live on the vineyard. I do not need the money. I just need to be with him, and that is all. That is all that I could ask for. There's no money that could create the value of what I experience when I'm with him. And it was insistent that I would marry right away, so that it would go unnoticed that I was pregnant. Well, I was not going to cooperate, and it was discovered, obviously, and that was such a huge scandal that I was disowned from my family, my very rich family. Their daughter does not, that is not what you do. You do not do that. You get disowned. When you want to get pregnant with the vineyard boy, you are not part of this family anymore. That is not proper. That is not appropriate. That is the death of my child to me. That is what the decision making was by my father. Well, I was sent back to the vineyard, and I was sad, obviously, that I would be removed and never see my family again, but I was so overjoyed that I would get to see the vineyard boy again, and that is when I discovered that he had killed himself. It still hurts me to think about it. It does. Because I could have had a nice life with Avery, and it never happened. And I knew, I didn't know that was Avery at the time, but because of the meaning and the way that Lifetime made me feel, I don't just consume information. I don't just believe everything I hear. I actually choose to be the back seat as the information comes into me, and I check to see my sensory reactions to things. What is the meaning? I'd always wanted to live in France on a vineyard, and I didn't even, this request for a past life comprehension had nothing to do with nothing to do with vineyard. And yet it had come to me, and it had related to a dream that I had thought about, that I had cherished in my mind as something in my heart, something I'd want to do. And so Avery could not tolerate the separation and felt he would never be with me. He lost his job. So we had both undergone our own nightmares in our own separate experiences of the world. My rich experience and his poor experience, losing his job and losing the one thing that brought love and and inspiration and joy and everything into his life. And so when I discovered that he had killed himself, what did I have left? I had no Avery, I had no family, I had no money. I had only the vineyard. My aunt, I lived with my aunt there, and over time, I had the baby, and it was a very sorrowful experience. But I got to know Avery's parents, and I got to know Avery's brother, who was a lot like, he had a lot of likeness to him, and it was very easy for me to sort of, it helped heal me to be around his brother, helped to heal me. And a new love had blossomed, and I was able to accept. I never could heal fully from Avery killing himself. You can't change that, that connection, but you can still love, you can still have a connection with others, you can still love others. Avery's not the only soul in an infinite universe that I have fallen in love with. There's many, 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 many souls that I love so much as I love Avery, and I know I've experienced them, I've interacted with them too. They just it just is the way I'm not talking about other souls right now, I'm just talking about Avery. And so I was able to heal in that lifetime and find joy again, and my mother would visit me on occasion, but it was never a very joyful visit. I never saw my dad ever again. I never got to go. I never had that relationship with my family ever again. I never got to see any of them, just my mother on occasion, and it was very disagreeable, and that makes sense. Anyway, I ended up having like 5 more kids with Avery's brother. It doesn't sound right, but you understand that you have to find healing and you have to find love again. That is, you have to find reasons to move on. Love is that important that you have to find a reason to have love come back into your heart again. Or what are you? You are a dying rose. That is literally what you are. If you do not choose to have love come back into your heart again, you choose to be dying inside, literally. And so we ended up having, children, and had a big family, and my aunt ended up giving us part of the vineyard. And so the end of my days literally were filled with my kids and my grandkids, and part of the vineyard that we were given, and joy. That is the memory that I still have of France, is all of the joy that it gave me. I mean, gave me pain, but it also gave me just very joyful memories. just the memory of being with Avery on the vineyard was joyful. You know, obviously him committing suicide is, you know, I have a very unique relationship with what it is to commit suicide. I do not, you know, there is no bad choices. There's only lessons to be learned. And then then in the next time around you can decide whether you want to kill yourself or not. And when you choose to end a life prematurely, that has a karmic debt that you have to pay and that you owe to every single person, and all the reasons why that you had made that choice to end your life become your learning as to why you should not do that. If he would not have killed himself, we would have had an amazing life on that vineyard together. You see why you can't do it. You see why you cannot kill yourself, because you don't know what is going to take place next year. You don't know what is going to take place in 5 years from now. You don't know how good your life actually can become. We all go through nightmares in life. We have to keep trying, literally. And it's interesting because in this lifetime too, I've suffered from depression for a very long time. I've always had a very sensitive, always been very sensitive, and sensitive towards feelings, people's feelings, and seeing how people hurt each other here all the time, and just trying to become numb to it because I don't know. What are you supposed to do? Just I don't know. I mean, we all face these issues all the time. But I've been very suffered from depression because what am I supposed to do here? And I've seen. I lived in. I honestly, whatever I could do to be in nature was the only relief that I had from living here in this world. So I would take long, extremely long walks, and we're talking like 7 miles, and I would just walk and walk and walk, and I never ever wanted to leave the nature trail, because nature was the only thing that was love to me, that I could count on nature to love me back, and I could love nature unconditionally, and nature could love me unconditionally, and I could feel the most profound love when I was in nature. But when I was around human beings, I could feel all of their issues, all of their stress, all of their challenges, and it was eating me alive. And I had the spirit world, I had an invisible world where my friends, you know, invisible friends are, and they could love me unconditionally, and I could love them, and they were my teachers. They helped me comprehend. They were where I could go to try to understand how to live in this world. And in a depressed state, I got to know the evil side of the spirit world very, very well. That's why at this point where I, you know, have this awareness, this humongous expanded awareness of my by far more aware than your everyday person, because I've lived all of these things. I've experienced all these things, and I'm constantly trying to make sense of everything. And even if I can't, then I reach out to others who can help me when I don't have the time, or I don't have the skill or ability to know. And so I got to know evil spirits. I've endured a nightmare. I really have. And only in the last year and a half I have actually seen the other side of the fence, which is joy and love and happiness, and has been enough to inspire me to start trying to share through videos. Before, in my depressed state, you have no idea how deep into depression that I went, and what I would do with energy in a depressed state, because I would direct it all towards myself. All of the evil, negative, dark energy that was at a frequency that was very destructive. So I would connect with a vein of destruction, and then I would put it into myself as a means to end my life, because I couldn't actually physically kill myself. So I just tried to shorten my life by using destructive energy to actually kill myself. And doesn't work. You have no idea the conversations I could have with you. I don't really talk a lot about my depression and what I experienced, because I like thinking about things that make me feel happy. And that I do that every day. Is I choose not to be depressed today. I choose to be happy today. I choose to be here and at the highest frequency. I do that. It isn't easy, but I am happy today. And part of the reason why I couldn't actually physically kill myself was because for some reason I felt like I would have been Avery killing myself before love comes back. Like literally, I couldn't kill myself because somewhere in my heart it kept saying that if you killed yourself today only to be a spirit to find out that if you would have waited one more day that Avery would have been there, or some beautiful thing would have happened that would have changed everything, you would regret it. I couldn't kill myself because I don't know what tomorrow holds. And tomorrow could be the day that everything changes. And that's why, because you don't know what tomorrow holds. And now here I am, and I'm keep trying all the time to share more. And this helps me too. It just helps me interact and connect with others. And it gives me something that is spiritual every day, and sharing a spiritual message every day, and that brings joy to my life too. And so anyway, Avery is very meaningful to me, and he did not incarnate on planet Earth, but I am convinced there is an Avery on this planet, and I don't know what that Avery is doing. Probably, it doesn't matter. I don't know that Avery right now. I just know the one Avery that lives on another planet. He visits me. He visited me this morning, and reminded me about love, and reminded me, he just, yeah, just to share more messages about love. And so, anyway, that's just my message. My message is to remind us all to just think about love more. Think about love in all of our decisions. Remember that it is a lifetime. It's not a moment. Just don't give up. Tomorrow will come, and it could be everything that you ever imagined it to be. And if tomorrow isn't that day, just know that there's more days left in this lifetime, and that it is always the challenge. To beat the challenge is the greatest gift you can give to yourself. To make it to the end of the race and know you did it, that is when you give yourself a pat on the back and you say, awesome job. I don't know how you got through all of that, but you did it. And that makes you a very profound and amazing person, and a very profound and amazing soul. You're not just a person, you're a soul. Souls come to Earth, and Earth is the nightmare. Earth is a nightmare planet to come to. It is the challenge. You come here so your soul can expand and grow in ways that it could not do if it chose to be a perfect Palladian on another planet where it isn't challenged. Isn't challenged to face all of the mirrors. All of the mirrors that are wisdom. Mirrors of hatred, mirrors of violence, mirrors of depression, mirrors of evil spirits, mirrors of alien abduction, and mirrors of all the different kinds of mirrors. Greed, you get all of them here. Challenge of just loving yourself. Everybody deals with that challenge. Every single one of us, even the most beautiful people on this planet, deal with the challenge of being able to love and appreciate themselves. Why is that so hard? It just is. It doesn't have to be. We can just choose to be more loving, every single one of us. And then everything changes. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. So thank you for watching my video. I hope it was meaningful. And that's all for now.